Hello, welcome back to my reading channel. My name is Joe, and I'm going to be doing a book haul today because I bought some books recently and I'm excited about them, and you have to be too. Well, you don't have to, but... Rebecca, do I even need to explain why? I feel like all the social media around books is pretty excited about this. I read The Turn of the Screw earlier this year and I loved it. To the point where I read it out loud. The whole time I read Turn of the Screw out loud. For some reason, in a British accent, I'm rereading Call Me By Your Name and I had to buy it. Okay? I had to. This, if you know, you know, and if you don't know, read Call Me By Your Name. This is No Longer Human by Osamu Dazai. I think it's how you say it. I think this man's literature has not been translated for like ages, and they translated a bunch of his books this year and they are all over the bookshops. To every bookshop I go, even the independent bookshops, they have this book. So I have to read it. And look at that. Isn't that the coolest thing? Wait, can you see it? They published it in the way that they originally published it, I think in like the 50s. That's pretty cool. You won't know what this is, even if I tell you the name of the book. You won't know what it is. But this is just one of my favorite stories in the history of Portugal. By the way, if you don't know, I'm from Portugal. I'm currently living in the north of Portugal. And this book is called Severa, which basically just means Severa, which is the name of a person. Maria Severa Nofriana. This woman is an integral part of our history, the history of our music in the country. And I don't think many people know who she is. In Portugal, we have a very traditional, typical type of music called fado, which basically just translates to fate. It's a very somber, melancholic, sad type of music. It's one of the most beautiful things you can hear when you come to Portugal. It's beloved by everyone. It's the type of music that tourists go to see, to watch. They don't understand a single lyric and they leave like transfixed by it. They are mystified by it. If you want to listen to something that will like demonstrate this for you, search this on YouTube and you'll understand. But basically, this is a story of the woman who popularized fado. Maria Severa Nofriana, or just Severa, was a 16-year-old prostitute in mid-19th century Lisbon. There was this count, or this nobleman, who took a special liking to her and would bring her to his court to sing for his noble people, for his noble friends. And what she sang in his court was fado, which back then was an underground type of music that was only performed by drunks and prostitutes in the street and in brothels and in bars. So it wasn't well regarded back then. It was the music of the low life of the city, basically. And because she performed it in the court of that nobleman and they loved it so much, it became popular among the rich people. And this is how we have it today as probably the highest form of musical performance in the country. This will always be one of my favorite stories of Portuguese history because people in Portugal are still very traditional, very religious, and are very critical and hypocritical. And it's just really funny and silly, ridiculous to me that the most respected form of music in the country, beloved by rich people everywhere, north to south, was popularized by a prostitute. And this book specifically is the first story ever written about her, which was written about 40, 50 years after all the events that happened in her life. She had a very sad life. She died very young. I've read her story through an historical fiction book a while ago, but I need to read this. I found this in a book fair. It cost me €5. I couldn't believe I had found this because I've been looking for this book for so long and no one ever has it. So I'm pumped. I found this in the same book fair, and it's an insane book. Insane. Because this explores the poetry of 7 iconic Roman poets while also exploring the landscape of where they were when they were writing it. This is going to be my second Harry James book because I love The Turn of the Screw so much and it only cost me €5. again, you know what I think about when I remember how much I enjoyed Harry James and how much I want to read all of his books? I think about that one Woody Allen film, A Rainy Day in New York, with Timothée Chalamet and Selena Gomez. I think about that film because in that film, Gatsby, the main character, who in all of Woody Allen's films are basically just a stand-in for himself. Gatsby, the main character, says, I know I should read my Henry James, but I don't like Henry James. I find it boring. You know what? In that man's films, there is always a battle between the true intellectuals and the pseudo-intellectuals. And the whole time, you watch all of his movies, and you are meant to think that the intellectuals win in the end. And the intellectuals obviously represent Woody Allen. But what I'm thinking recently, honestly, is that man is the pseudo-intellectual, because what do you mean you don't like Harry James? Where? Find me a person with common sense who doesn't like Harry James. Crickets. I have to. I've watched too many Emmy videos not to. I love him with all my heart, and I will read all of his books and then die happy. No idea who this person is, no idea what the book is about, but I remember reading a chapter in the bookstore. I bought it right after, so it must be good. This is a problem. This is a Portuguese author. The first book I read from him, I loved. It's to this day one of my favorite books of all time. But every single book after that I read of him, it was just like, okay, so I guess this is my last chance of this author. Like, if I enjoy this book, I will continue reading his books. If I don't, I probably will continue anyway, because I just want the magic from the first one. No explanation needed, right? You know why I'm reading this. Everyone knows that they have to read this. So it's here. And fun fact, this is a very yellow book because I bought it in Cyprus when I lived there. And it cost me nothing because there was this church charity where you could leave one book and bring one with you. So I just left a book that I didn't want and brought this one with me. And it was a great trade. I read the first chapter and it was so funny. I had to buy it. And it's here. I bought this under the impression that this poet was the guy that wrote that red card poem. I still haven't confirmed it. I have no idea, but it's here. This will not interest you very much. It's the first novel from one of my favorite poets of all time. You would combust. You would combust on the spot if you read his poetry. And if you're Portuguese, I hope you do read his poetry. His name is José Régio. Try it. You will combust on the spot. It's a book of sonnets. Cost me €2. Will eventually read it. I am dying to read this. Dying. I'm just currently finishing Normal People. And maybe I'll finish my reread of Call Me By Your Name. And then I'm reading this. Actually, I'm probably going to start this after I finish Normal People. At this point, if André Aciman has no fans, I'm dead. Okay? This is also a book I'm dying to read, and I'm probably going to start it at the same time as I start my Roman Empire. It's a Brazilian author. I've never read anything from her before, but I'm in need of reading some more Brazilian fiction because they are exceptional. So yeah, I also read like the first chapter, I think, or the first few pages in the bookstore, and I was in love. Immediately in love. I don't think I even sat down. I just picked it up, started reading on the spot, and then went to the register and bought it. And of course, we're ending with Camus. I've only ever read one book by him, and I saw this at the fair. It cost me €5, and I thought, why not? How hard can it be? And then I searched online, and apparently you don't have to read like the 3 books in order. You can read this one whenever, and then the other 2 whenever. So yeah. Actually, I'm pretty excited about reading this. I just need to find the right headspace for it. That's my little book haul. I hope you all are already celebrating Christmas. I'm that person that starts putting up lights very early. Actually, these have been here for ages, but I cannot wait to start buying some Christmas decoration because I'm currently living at my mom's house in Portugal. I was abroad for a while and away for a lot longer, but I came back to the house to kind of reset myself and reset my life. And people here don't decorate. People here don't celebrate. So I'm going to be celebrating alone, even though I'm not alone here. And I will not let them break me. I will celebrate anyway, because it's Christmas. Bye.